Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Zoom meeting this morning, where we're talking coffee and cannabis. Let's see between the smoke. What's behind the smoke? I am with two of my business partners and friends, Miss Alicia Pacina and Miss Amy Hicks. Now, a little bit about the two of them before I turn them loose. Alicia, her resume shows she's a wife. She's a mom. She's a network leader. And she does a lot with like women's business groups and that sort of thing. Um, she gave up corporate America to follow her passion. And if you want to talk conspiracy theories, she's your girl. We're also, if you want to talk cannabis, she's your girl. Um, Amy is also a wife and a mom. She's a very active mom. She's super creative and really compassionate. And she's an enormous force in our industry. She's a huge advocate for the plant and very knowledgeable. Both of these ladies are so knowledgeable in the products that we have to offer, as well as the industry as a whole. So I'm super grateful that both of them agreed to be with me today. And it's a Sunday and they have families, and I just want you both to know I appreciate you so much. So they are willing to be here today to share their knowledge. So I'm going to start with Alicia just to get this going, and then there's a few other things I know that we're going to touch on that people are going to go aha. But to get started, how did you choose this industry that we're in? Like a little background of you, and what amazing things have our product or the products themselves done for you in your day-to-day life? And Alicia and Amy, I'm going to ask you the same thing next.
So start thinking, Amy.
Yeah.
Get ready. All right. Well, hi, Kelly. Thanks so much for asking us to be on here. We're super excited to talk about this stuff with you. Amy and I, as I think everyone in the company knows, are super, super passionate about the HempWorks brand. And that's really all we focus on. So it is our jam. It has always been our thing. And so we're super grateful to have these products and be able to share our passion. So and thank you so much. So yeah, I got started in network marketing back in I guess you could say 2013 technically, because I started with a company called Wines for Humanity and did wine tastings. And then I got pregnant, and it wasn't real cool to be out driving all over Phoenix pregnant at night serving wine. It was just weird. So I stopped doing that. But in 2014 is when I really started taking the industry seriously. Right after I had Nixon, he was 7 weeks early, and we were in the hospital for about 28 days. Actually, we were in there for 28 days. And sitting in the hospital, a lot of the days I would just be scrolling Facebook, right? I was spending time in there and scrolling. And a friend of mine from way back in my 20s was posting about how she was making a couple grand a month selling these health and wellness products. And she had been like a complete train wreck in our 20s. And all I could think about to myself is, imagine if this bitch is making that much, how much could I make? Right? Like, I was pretty smart and business savvy at the time. So I reached out to her and started researching the company. And then I went to an event and I was like, yes, I'm going to do this. And I did okay with them. I sold health and wellness products for a few years. I met Amy in that company. That is, we met at a convention. We stayed in a house together that she had found. It was like serendipitous or whatever you want to call it, that we ended up together in that house and became friends. But that was also the year 2017 when I wasn't really jiving with that company. And it was kind of at that convention. I know Amy remembers when we left, I was kind of like, and about 6 months later, I was pretty much done. That's when I started seeing HempWorks come along. And at that time, I was like, wow, like this is something I could get on board with. Like, I have been telling people for years to smoke a joint when they would tell me their problems. And I was like, now I have a form of cannabis that I can get in their hands that like they can try and not get high, right? So it was amazing. I was super excited about it. I researched the company. I had researched some other companies too that were coming out at the time, and just really liked what HempWorks had to offer. Like, the product itself was so pure. I liked the way that the extraction methods and everything. And so at that time, I had even like reached out to Jenna because previously in my company, I had really shitty upline. And so I knew if I was going to do this, like, I knew, like, after talking to my friends, like, it was kind of like I knew that this was going to be the thing for me. Like, I'm really passionate about cannabis. I've been an advocate since I was 17 and it has always helped me in my life, like helped me with social anxiousness. And I was always the one, instead of, I hung out with a lot of party people in my 20s, and while they were doing other kinds of things, I was just smoking a joint in the corner, right? And not just kind of minding my own business. And that was my thing. So it really just helped me. I always tell people I feel like cannabis saved my life in my 20s, because I think I could have went down a very different path, and I think that it helped keep me straight and narrow. And I never really did anything stupid on cannabis, right? So that was like the best thing. And I just, super passionate about it. So like I said, when I found this product after researching, and I called Jenna on the phone, I talked to her and Josh, I saw where their vision was going. I told them my story, and I was all on board. And at the time I was living in Pennsylvania. Well, I lived in Arizona for most of my life. I moved here when I was 18, and I didn't leave till I was 37. We moved to Pennsylvania after I had Nixon. And back there, cannabis isn't quite as available as it was in Arizona. It was just more of a thing out here. And so my anxiety was really, really high back there. And so I was at the doctor. I went to the doctor. They prescribed me a pill, and I would take that pill, 5 to 6 times a week, because I was having those attacks daily. And the doctor just kept refilling it. And then when in 2017, I found the product. And like I said, when I ordered it, I started taking it, and I realized I went 2 weeks and hadn't touched a single one of those pills. And it has been a blessing ever since. I will not go without that product, or without my
There we go.
CBD every day.
Yeah,
Like,
I can't
it's
see
been
me.
life
Oh,
changing for me. So yeah, and then I joined the company, and seriously, like, I just started putting it out there. We were sharing testimonies. I, connected with some people in a chiropractor office that were referring me, and it was just a lot of referrals in the beginning, like crazy, and people were ordering it. And I built a team. I had been networking for years in my previous company, and really had built a solid network of people. And I'm blessed, like, it really came to my life at the right time, and the right people came into my life, and that's how I managed to find success with the MDC and HempWorks. I'll say HempWorks. So,
Yay. I love that. It's funny because we all have a story. Every one of us has a story, and I'm going to tell mine in a few minutes because I don't think I've told the two of you my story, but it's pretty miraculous. Um, the reason I'm here, I guess. But Amy, clearly you found Alicia and you just went with her because you were homies and all that. But it is Alicia is the one probably then that got you into the hemp works. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite funny because we say all the time, we're like, man, had we both known that we were such big proponents of the plant when we met, we probably would have been off in the corner, puffing on our flower together, but it was still a stigma. And so we kept to ourselves, and she didn't know that I loved the plant. I didn't know that she loved the plant. We were just seeing the vision of what this industry of network marketing could do, and it was like the freedom that we wanted. And we're both hard workers. We're like, we know that we can do whatever it takes to be able to have the life we want to live. But alignment is such a huge proponent because we both weren't aligned with that other company. But when we found this opportunity with HempWorks, and I started seeing her success, and I was like gravitated because I'm like, what are these three little letters, CBD? We had ever only really heard the THC. And so a little bit of my background, I, at the time of network marketing, when it entered my life in 2015, I was pregnant for the second time. And I was also in corporate, working in different advertising agencies, promotional firms. I was doing all the graphic design and creatives. So I really loved it. Like I thrived there, but it was more like the trading time for money piece. I was designing for outdoor companies, looking out the window and designing about camping, and I just wanted to be camping, right? And so it was so empowering when I started to be like, okay, well, what is she talking about with these three little letters? And I also at the time had gotten in a car accident, and my massage therapist was rubbing CBD on my neck, and I'm like, okay, this keeps coming into my life. What is this? You know, I go into the dispensary and she's like, do you want the THC gummies or the CBD? And I'm like, what's the difference? You know, and she's all, well, it doesn't get you high. I'm like, isn't that the whole point, you know? And so I started educating myself, and I was like, okay, this could help my mom being having breast cancer formally, my sister was going through some dark moments, and it was empowering. It's like now I can really talk about this openly because it's legal and it's not stigmatized to getting high. And so as soon as I found the opportunity, like, and chatted with Alicia, I remember she couldn't wait to get on the phone and tell me all about it. And this was this was December of 2017 for me. And so about 6 months after Alicia jumped in, and immediately I was like done with the other company. I made my Facebook group private. We started educating. It was leading with that education and awareness, and being willing to be like leading the way in this, because still to this day, 6 years later, it amazes me how a lot of people still aren't talking about it. They just don't even want to look at it. And that's why it's like leading with this empowerment to do your own research. Like you owe it to yourself to find out more about the plant. We're gonna learn as we grow. We're still doing that, which is really cool, like we're gonna get to in a minute. But the fact that this plant is so underrated, a lot of people still only know it for THC, and we are learning why it was put here. And it's up to us to figure out how we can incorporate it in all these different ways, and to empower people to self-advocate. We're such a reactive society. You know, this is something I see more and more is we wait, and then we want to respond. And this plant is so preventative. And so I believe that the reason we've found such success is because we've led with passion, and we've led with really I've said it over and over, but this empowerment and taking back our what nature's intended. And so all of our teammates that are still with us, we're here for a reason, and it's a mission. And that part has been so fun. And I just believe everything leads to everything. Follow your path, and just keep leading with conviction and your passions, because that's what people are going to feel. And it takes time. This is why it's so important for us to keep talking about it, because it takes time. When people are ready, you're going to be the go-to girl. We're the go-to people. They know, and they think of cannabis and the plant, right? So it's been awesome.
I love that you talked about that. And because I started in this company, let me just tell you quickly, my mom has the big C, and 10 years ago, they gave her like a 30% chance, the doctors, a 30% chance of living 3 years if she did the nasty drugs in her system every 3 weeks intravenously. Well, that's great, but it kills everything, like all your cells. It kills the good stuff, the bad stuff, everything. And we ended up down a rabbit hole of stents in her heart. The blood pressure was awful, like so many things. And because of the nature of her treatment, she couldn't even go to the dentist without getting off of it. Like it was horrible. And because of her having an injury to her knee and all of this, she's like, if I can't walk, why am I even doing this treatment? Like, what is the point in going through this? So she said, I'm getting off of this stuff so that I can get fixed, and it's quality of life over quantity. And I grew up in the age where there was it was a stigma. Like literally when I grew up in a small town where I grew up, if you drank too much, you were kind of a loser, right? Like you got this big red flag put on you. And I was athletic, I was in sports, I was all of those things growing up in a small town. And there's no way you would have ever, like, if I could look at my life now, I would never have believed that I was this big into being a cannabis advocate. And it started because of, it's funny how when you're faced with mortality, when you're faced with something so crazy, your belief, like you lose beliefs. Like I don't want to lose my mom, and I'm willing to do what, like, forget it. And so I started studying and researching natural ways to help her with this stuff. And CBD cannabis came up every time. So then I start researching, I need to learn about this a little before I don't want my mom sitting around in a dazed state for the rest of her life, drooling on herself, and that's what I was thinking. Like, I'm going to give my mom this and she's just going to be a like, so I started learning and I found this product, our product that we have, and it was the highest quality. It was third-party testing. And this is back in the day when we only had like 2 products, and HempWorks was it exploded because people like myself started having the courage to speak openly about. Even though there was a stigma, it was like, I don't care. I don't care what people think of me anymore, because within 2 months of buying that one little bottle, my mom's life changed. We're 10 years in, like 11, almost 12 years in now. I keep saying 10 because that's what I've been telling people all this time. But she has not had the treatment intravenously for over 6 years. She just had a scan the other day, and she has very minute progress. We went skydiving for her birthday. She comes with me to my conventions, and she's gardening. She walks every day. She drives a Jeep with a 3-inch lift. And you guys, she has done nothing different except a couple of little magic oil drops under her tongue twice a day. Shut up. I'm all in. Like, I am 100% in, and I dove in, and even though we've expanded our company to multiple brands, multiple products, this marketplace that we have, which has benefited me personally, HempWorks is still my best seller because of its quality, because of everything. And so I want to kind of dumb it down, because I personally am all in now, and I don't care what anyone thinks, because I have my mom and I've helped so many people along the way. And if people judge me, I'm not even worried about that anymore. Like, get off your judgy Judy, and by the way, that's my mom's name. Get off your judgy Judy horse and just open your mind to something. Like, I don't want to be a prisoner to big pharma or medical or anything the rest of my life. Like, I'm not going to do that. So with saying that, there is a stigma, but let's talk about cannabinoids, because there are over 100 different cannabinoids, not just the THC, which is the psychoactive one. And so the two of you are so brilliant, and I want you to talk to us just a little bit about it, a little bit about, the details, because listen, I take the drops. I don't know what this magic is, but it works. So I don't care, whichever one of you wants to talk, that I like, chime in, tell me what you think. Let's just have a little conversation about all this. And then at the end, I want you to talk to the gals that are here today, maybe a little bit about how they can overcome that stigma. Like, it just takes jumping out of that box. Like, you just have to be brave, right? Because overcoming the stigma for me was the hardest part. Like, I don't want people to judge me, whatever. I don't care anymore. I don't even care.
I think that's for a lot of people, that's what's it called, a hindrance, right? Like I think that stops people from growing their business or building their business because they get nervous about selling this product. And like I think for us it's just always been about owning it. Like you have something that is so powerful and pure, and it's not going to get them high. Like you can stand by that. Like it is CBD, it is from the hemp plant, right? There are two plants. There's the marijuana plant, the hemp plant. We extract from the hemp plant. That's always been our spiel. It's really like owning the fact that you have the best. Like I always tell my team, you know, I can walk into a room and confidently stand there and know that I don't, if there's 8 other people in there that sell CBD, I am going to be confident in knowing that mine is absolutely the best. And I will have the documentation, right, to prove it, because we have all of that. We have the COAs available. And that's really important when you're looking at products, like that they have those. So we are very lucky that we do. And I know we're both excited about the new products. Like we, you know, CBD has just become such a thing that it's normal in people's lives now. They hear it more and more. And I have to say, I think the stigma is pretty broken. There are still certain states that it's in, but I mean, what now? There's 28 recreational states.
Ohio was 24 just
24.
recently, this
Okay.
past week. Yes.
Yeah, so that's exciting. And I mean, like, I mean, the new products, we're super stoked about the CBDA. I mean, Amy has been researching, we both have, like, but there's just a ton of stuff out there. Like, we always just encourage people to Google stuff because, you know, I've learned with over the years that you can talk till you're blue in the face and they're still going to go home and research it on their own. So I always just say, we have the best products. We have the purity, the organic grown, the extraction methods that are all there. Like, why, what can CBDA now help it with? And I think that's been huge for us, just learning more about that and where that's going to go. It's just so much more powerful than CBD. And the CBG pre-rolls give us something fun to talk about. Like there is that stigma. And I mentioned it in my BNI group the other day. You know, that was what my commercial or 30 seconds was about, was the pre-rolls. And I'm like, I know a lot of people think that it's all about getting high, but the CBG is really going to be good for people that are in a lot of discomfort. And I think that, you know, the more you learn about CBG and then the THCA just infused in there, it's, I mean, the smoking can, you know, have put a block up for some, but I mean, we have a video of a woman, a doctor who was talking about how they're finding that cannabis smokers are getting sick less, having less issues down the road and less cancer and stuff like that. So it's been really incredible to unlock these cannabinoids and start learning about them.
Yeah, we're like, we always say we're freeing the plant one cannabinoid at a time, but I think something to note why HempWorks has always been at the forefront, because we've even experienced the microcannabinoids this whole time because our oil, our CBD oil, has been full spectrum. So that's something that I always think is important, like the full rainbow, that you're getting that whole synergy effect, even with the micro amount of THC. Like I always said, like our kids use the full spectrum. It's not something to be afraid of. Those other CBG and CBN and those have helped, which is why our oil has always been so good. But now what I think is fascinating is these acidic cannabinoids. I didn't know a lot about that. I knew about these microcannabinoids, but what are acidic cannabinoids? It's like the precursor. And so we're learning too that you can extract the plant at different times in its growth stage. That's why when you, I listened to these documentaries back in the day talking about people that have healed themselves of their cancer because they're juicing the plant. And I was always like, well, what is that different? Well, because it's got that CBDA, the THCA. You're not heating it, you're not decarbonizing, or whatever that word is, you know? So there's just different ways that you can consume. There's different molecules you can consume. And we are learning that the plant is so individualized that you've got to experience it for yourself. To me, that's the beauty of it. It's like, okay, we're so used to a pharmaceutical, like, okay, here's how you take it, here's when you take it. Everybody's got the same thing. That's why they ask, what's your family history? But no, like, this plant actually goes in and fills the gaps to you, specifically where you need it. I still think it's fascinating that someone could have a they could be more drowsy with one cannabinoid, whereas another person could be more alert. So really, at the end of the day, you've got to encourage people to play around with it, and that's why it's like letting people know there's really no side effects, it's benefits. So you have to have that self advocacy to be like, okay, I'm going to take more when my cycle's coming up because I know my body's going through some changes. So when you start to look at it like this and not just, oh, we're selling a product and it's trending. No, 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 no. There's a lot of different factors that play into it. And so that's why it's super exciting. And like another thing I want to say is, what's so bad about getting high? Like we still say, oh, this one doesn't get you high. Well, what's so bad about it? People celebrate getting drunk, okay? And like to me, alcohol is the entrance drug. Exit right here. This is the exit. Okay. So we just got it twisted.
It's so crazy that you say that because as I was saying in my story, you got to experiment with it. You got to be you got to learn about the products. You got to learn about high quality, because I have had so many people in my time say, oh, I tried CBD and it didn't work for me. And what they're meaning by what these gals are talking about when they say you've got to get in there and learn, Google it, PubMed it, do all of the things and learn, because I think that had I gone to some rando gas station and bought their crap that they call CBD and sell on the shelf, that's full of all of the toxins and all of the artificial and all of the preservatives and all of the things, these people are trying this product because it's less expensive. And they're saying, oh, CBD doesn't work for me. No, that's not right. Like this, like people don't understand and they're not educated. The reason that it didn't work for you is because of all of the junk. Like there are companies that aren't forthcoming. They don't have third-party testing. They don't have extraction processes in place and growing and all of the things to make this. We have that product. We have the product that is that we are more proud of the product itself than the money that we're creating from it. And that for me is huge. And so if you're watching this and you've tried and it didn't work for you from the gas station, you really need to get with somebody here. Whoever shared this video with you, you get with them, let's talk, because these products changed my life and the stigma is gone. And just like you said, experimenting with it. I told you guys previously my story and how I grew up, that was taboo. Like, oh my gosh. The first time I ever partook, I was blown away because listen, I partied my life away. And when I was younger, I was the life of the party. And so many nights I couldn't see straight and I was throwing up sick and like, this is fun. The first time I ever tried cannabis in the smoke form, all I did was calm down. All I did, listen, I could have written country music songs till the cows came home. I was so smart. Like I just was calm and nothing. It didn't affect me in any way. It doesn't affect your vision, right? Like it doesn't. People don't even understand. And so I completely changed my tune and I said, look, if my kids are out partying, I would much rather they were stoned than drunk every day. So I kind of changed my thinking a little bit about it, but I still don't like partake it. Like I'm not much of a drinker. I'm not really do those things. I just would rather bounce off the walls with my personality, I guess. But I hurt myself last year. We have a pop-up camper, Mom and I was doing the jack and I felt something pop right here and it immediately got hot, like super hot. And then I was like, oh no, this isn't good. But listen, I'm not giving these doctors my money. I'm not doing all of these things. So, and I haven't been taking any over-the-counter pain medicine for anything, but sometimes I can't even lift, and sometimes and I'm just being stubborn. Fast forward last week, we launched our new product that you guys are going to talk about, and I was able to try it. The pre-rolls. And I took, somebody had one. They said, Kelly, let's try this. I was like, okay, I'll try it. What have I got to lose? One puff off of this, literally zero pain, immediate, like immediate. So I literally came home with one. I'm like, I am not leaving this place without one of these. And about 3 nights ago, I couldn't even sleep for 2 nights straight. I was tossing and turning and all of that. And so I decided after work I was going to try another puff off my pre-roll. And I did. Just one puff, and I put it out. It's not like I'm sitting there like, and I literally relaxed. My muscles were relaxed. I felt like done. I slept through the whole night. This morning I woke up throbbing here and here. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do this video with these gals today, and we're going to talk about this. And I'm like, duh, you have something that will help you. So this morning I did it again. And as you're watching me right now, do I look anything other than just comfortable? No, I don't. And it's incredible. So I want you ladies to talk about the new CBDA, the acidic, the part, because what I did read the other day is that the CBDA, the THCA are extracted from juvenile plants, right? So instead of letting them get all the way, they're juvenile, so they're in this acidic portion, and that's how we're able to flex with all of the different cannabinoids, and that is what I'm taking. So talk about that for us for just a second, because I'm like I said, I'm stumbling all over the place, and you guys know what you're doing.
Well, I'll read something that I just grabbed last night because like I said, you got to be willing to learn as you grow, or yeah, learn as you grow. Like I think a lot of times we feel like we have to know everything, but people want to know that this is so new. We're learning as the research comes out. There's doctors doing seminars on this very thing right now, these acidic cannabinoids. And the reason that I'm learning CBDA works greater than or differently than CBD is because it breaks the blood-brain barrier. And so it's going to react on your receptors more. It's saying that it produces more serotonin, so it's a greater potential for an antidepressant. It's saying that CBDA is found to be more effective in reducing inflammation. It's gonna do a similar thing as like aspirin and ibuprofen, but it's not gonna affect your gut, your lining like that. And this is really powerful. Like we're not tying this to our product or anything. Just the molecule itself is saying that CBDA has been shown to inhibit the growth of certain cells, the ones that you were talking about with your mom. So to me, this alone is enough to be like, yes, sign me up. I want to take this every day. And as far as like the CBG, like you were saying, taking the puffs of it, for me, it's I tend to be scatterbrained all over the place. It's just my creativity. It helps me focus. Different than the THC. I'm just like more calm. So if you feel like the other part of the plant makes you paranoid or things like that, try the CBG. But you have to also be willing to ask yourself, like, do I still have a stigma around this? And I think a lot of people do. And that's why Alicia and I are at the forefront. We've kind of owned that, like she said. I mean, we're like, hey, this isn't wrong. I'm not hiding it from my kids even. They've grown hemp with us and plants got their hands in it. So it's a food, it's a nutrient, it's a plant, and it's fascinating. So that's the little bit I've been learning.
Yeah. Oh, did you want to say something, Kelly?
No.
No. I was just going to talk a little bit, like, I mean, the CBDA, like Amy said, it really is just learning as you go. Like, there's so much stuff out there that, like, putting it all into one thing, we could never really do. And we don't try to do that for people either. We know, like, I always just tell people, like, you have the best, and you want people to look at it, to understand it, and know, just give it a try. That's what I'm asking people. I need more testimonies right
Yeah,
now. Will you
testimonies.
try this for me? Like, I have a friend who has a herniated disc, another one who was in a terrible car accident a couple years ago, and she struggled with a lot of things. And another friend just ordered it for her husband who has a TBI, because she had already been researching CBD. And then she met me and she was like, oh my God, I think I needed to meet you. Like, if you don't own it and don't let people know what you do, they're never going to know to come to you. And that's like one thing that what keeps me here still is that there are people who I haven't, have never asked me a question in 6 years, who are coming to me because, now is their time. You never know when you're going to be that person's saving grace, right? Like, when they're going to need you. Like, I know it gets hard sometimes when you're like, oh, I'm not making any sales, but that one person that could come to you, that this product could potentially change everything for them, you never want to give that up. And I think that's why, we've stuck with it for so long and still so passionate about it, is because we know that this brand HempWorks, that we absolutely do have the best products out there. And the CBG for me, like Amy said, I'm a wake and baker. I like to smoke that in the morning. It helps keep me focused. And I've just found that I'm more focused than if I just smoke a bowl in the morning with the CBG. So I really have found that I am liking that. So I think it's going to be a great product to get in more people's hands, not just for that, but like I said earlier, I think it gives you like an all over body kind of thing sometimes, where I feel like your whole body feels happy and good. And I think it's going to be really good for people who struggle with, mental health and stuff.
And try that CBDA topically. I
Mm-hmm.
anything like that's what we did with the CBD too, the natural. Like, I mean, I use that stuff for everything. The kids go to the relief cream, they go to the natural oil, they go to the gummies. It's like a lifestyle change. You're reaching for these things instead of other things because it does so much. And don't ever try to convince people. I think that's where we've always been credible too, is a lot of people, they get defensive and they want to try to convince. And it's like, listen, we're not saying it's the only thing, even though it does help with almost everything, but we're not out there convincing and driving it in and saying, it's just putting it out there, letting them know this is what we do, sharing those testimonies, which is why it's important to encourage people to like talk about it, be a voice, and let it go from there.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part for us as people that are in the industry, and we've seen all of the testimonies, because it's not a drug, because it's not anything except a plant. We are there. They got their thumb on us, and we're not able to make any kind of medical claims or say that this is helping or that this is curing, or like all of those are taboo words for us. We're not allowed to say that. So you'll hear us on occasion stumbling over it because we don't want to be non-compliant. But let's be real.
Well, that's why
Like,
we have
I
to have
could
these
talk about,
conversations face to face.
yes, because I can tell I might not be curing anything, and I might not be but I'm helping with symptoms of all kinds of things over here. And that, to me, that is where my passion lies with this, is I want to help as many people as I can. And we just launched the new CBDA, and I have it right here. And I have heard great things about our CB1 receptors. And I was reading something the other day about female issues and how this is incredible. But if you've ever looked on YouTube and watched the video of have you guys seen the guy that does like it looks like it's one of those weighted things where all of the little things hang down, and he explains how it gets into the receptors. and balances it out so that you're not having to, because with pharmaceuticals, a lot of those pharmaceuticals are giving you side effects. So they give you another one to counteract that. And they give you, and pretty soon you're down this rabbit hole, and pretty soon you've got nastiness in your gut and your kidneys and your everything. And what blows my mind with this, with all of these things, is that it creates different things. For me, of course, with my mom being sick, it's stressful. And because of her sickness, I had to have a surgery, and it threw me into these hormone malfunctions and all of this weight gain and all of this stuff. Well, mentally, I'm struggling because I've got my mom sick. Now I'm fat. Now I'm all of these things. And it's very hard to get yourself into a position. And I think once I started taking these products and I started learning about things and I started getting more passionate, things changed inside of my brain. And I was actually able to wrap my head around the fact that I needed to get going and I needed to change some things in my life. And I was actually able to do that. And before I couldn't. Like, I'm just like all over the place. And, you're just not in that position mentally to do those things. And I am now. And listen, my life has changed. And I know that both of your lives have changed. So I am super excited about all of our new products. I'm 100% advocating for them. The two of you are so incredible. Honestly, when I reached out to you to do this live with me, it's because I watched you at the convention in Miami. These two were up on stage talking and sharing and being transparent. And that's how they are. Like, I visited with them after the meeting, and that's just who they are. Like, I don't even know how I connected with Amy, except that she's just a badass. Like, she's just incredible.
We're just
And
keeping it real.
Alicia, yeah, like, we haven't really had that many conversations, the three of us just together and whatever, but I love your mission. I love your passion, both of you. And I am so grateful that you're here today. And is there anything else you want to add? Because I feel like this was more of an awareness and more of a, let's get this out there. Let's talk to people. If you're watching this video, get back to whoever shared this with you, because it's super important, and it's our life mission to help people. So
Yeah.
if you guys have anything else to add, I just want to thank you again for joining. I don't know. Let's talk about something else if you want to.
Thank you for having us on. I mean, really, you guys, it really is, like we said, it's just about getting out there, being a voice, and getting more voices. We need more voices on hand to get this in more people's hands. The more people's hands you're going to get it in, the more lives you're going to impact, right? And the more lives you change, the more your life is going to change.
Amen. Yep. Just have more conversations, learn more. It starts with you. Share your story, be experimenting yourself, encourage others. I always just say, ask the question, have you considered this? Look it up, and then come to me for the best so that I can guide you. Be willing to work with people and help guide them, and encourage, just give encouragement, because a lot of times people they don't even know they've got options. So keep going. We're just scratching the surface of this, and it's exciting. It's new to society. It's not new, but it is new, right? It's been here for centuries. Look it up, the history. But yeah, we're counting down already to 420, the celebration of the plant. So get in now and link arms.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This has been incredible and life-changing for all of us. And I don't know where you are, Amy, but that is the cutest little. Are you in a bus, a
I'm
van?
in my
What are you?
RV. We live the RV life.
I wondered that, and that's crazy awesome. I love that for you.
Yeah. Life on our
That is the
terms.
coolest little RV. Anyway, thank you guys all for jumping on. Ladies, you guys are incredible. I love you both to pieces. I'm so grateful for this family that we have here, and how we're all willing to just jump in and help because we care about other people. And I look forward to 100 more years with the two of you. And just thanks. And thanks everybody for hopping on. I will have this, I'm going to upload this recording in a little bit. And then I will post it to multimedia. So if you want to share it, if you want to download it, if you want anything, of course, the way we get this out there is by sharing this, by getting it out there. And let's go change some lives.
All right.
Ladies, thank you.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.